Hello all! I work for an agricultural company, where my weekly hours fluctuate between 60 and 120, while also working on getting a degree. My amazing bride is a homemaker by choice. All of this is okay. My issue comes from, on occasion, I am exhausted and will start to fall asleep or will purposefully go try to take a nap. Our entire marriage 11 years. She has woken me up or flat refused to let me fall asleep. I have tried talking to her numerous times, and she is unable to articulate what the issue is. Today, I got off early after 10 straight 16-hour days. I took her on a lunch date, then came home and decided to take a quick nap before working on school. Within minutes of laying down, she came into the room and began shaking me, turning on lights and other obnoxious behavior. How can I articulate to her my need for an occasional nap? And how can I get her to articulate what her apparent unmet needs are, so I do not go insane? Because it is at a point where I am feeling disrespected and unappreciated. Edit. Thank all of you so much for the responses. I have tried to read all of them and reply. I was truly not expecting this kind of response over what I thought was a me not communicating clearly problem. It is clear that there is more at play here, and I will be working with my therapist to develop plans. One, much to many's dismay, to try and work with my bride. One, last time to address and fix the underlying issue. And two, a way out if plan one fails. Again, thank you all for the kind words, the pointed yet truthful words, and even for some of the more extreme suggestions. There truly are great people left on the planet. Update. The Monday after making the post, she picked a fight over the yard not being mowed. After telling her I was done with the way she was behaving, she refused to accept this and said she would never leave. Fast forward to Wednesday night. I came home late again to find 2 vehicles with trailers, loaded with everything we owned minus papers and her designer bags. When I walked in the house, she and her family left. Thankfully, the landlord had a couch that I could sleep on using my clothes as bedding, because they took everything needed to live, including yanking the curtains and curtain rods off the wall. Thursday night, I came home and she was back. This time she tried picking a fight by chasing me around the house and lunging at me. When I told her I would call the sheriff if she did not leave, she began twisting and hitting her forearm, screaming she was gonna hurt herself and tell the sheriffs I heard her. I left the house and called the sheriffs for help. They were able to provide me a way to leave as her family was on the way back. Since then, she has sent 2,000 text messages, flipping between wanting to come back and me being the worst man alive. My attorney filed for a petition for divorce this past Friday. She will be served this week, and I am anticipating her to go postal. If anything happens, I'll let all you great folks know. Thank each every one of you that commented on the original post. It was you who opened my eyes and helped me take the opportunity of her leaving to end this nightmare. Second stories. I don't know if anyone remembers the post. My 2-F sister 25F, who's married, describes her perfect guy as my fiance to 5M. How should handle this? But that provides a lot more backstory to this situation. If you have, you can skip to where the is. Me and my ex-fiance, we'll call him Alan, had been together 3 years. My sister is actually the one that set us up. She was friends with him in high school and have been on and off close since. Me and my sister never really got along for the longest time. She's a narcissist and has anger issues and has always been tough to be around. But one day she told me that Alan actually had a crush on me and had told my sisters, boyfriend now husband, a while back. So she got us talking and we really hit it off. We had met and hung out on and off throughout the years, but never officially started dating until after my sister set us up. But here's where it gets weird. Alan had a tiny teen crush on my sister when they were in 9th grade together. He quickly got over it when she made it clear it wasn't reciprocated and starting sleeping with the whole school. But right when she was setting us up to get together, She told him that she actually did like him in high school, but she just didn't want it to hurt her social status. This would be the first of many questionable comments and things she would do. Later, she would describe what she called her ideal man as the actual description of Alan, and then finished it off with, like Alan, who is the absolute opposite of her husband. Yes, she was married at that time. We were in shock and had no idea what to say or do and just kind of brushed it off. But things just kept getting worse. She would complain that her best friend never comes around anymore because of me and that I was changing him for the worse. She constantly bragged about being such good friends with him and how I've just ruined that like his ex-girlfriend. In reality, Alan was avoiding her because of how terrible she was treating me and him. He never said that to her since he hates conflict, but he would complain about her to me several times. Not long after, she had her first kid, and then came postpartum depression and she went off the rails. She was sleeping with others and hiding it, and when her husband found out, she just started blatantly doing it. He was so close to divorcing her and hiring a lawyer to get custody. This is when me and Alan completely cut contact with her, but she finally started to go to therapy and get the help she needed, and things seemed to get better. This would be when me and my sister really started to be close. She actually admitted she had been terrible as a person and sister to me and told me to start holding her more accountable. Her and her husband were being really good friends to us for the first time in a long time, but then she got pregnant again, and a couple days before she went into labor, my sister waited until Alan and her husband left, and then began to tell me about how close her and Alan were. She mentioned that apparently he had sent her a D*** pic when they were in high school and would visit sex shops once a month. She even tried to describe what his penis looked like. She was very wrong. Then she proceeds to tell me, in specific details, how he helped her put on lingerie. She explained that Alan was with her while she was trying on the lingerie at her apartment. However, she couldn't get it on and walked out into the room where Alan was, completely naked, and had him help her put it on. But that it wasn't weird. They were just that close. I knew about the makeout session and the visiting sex shops, but not about the lingerie, nor about the picture. I chose to confront her about when she told him she was into him in high school, but that she didn't want it to hurt her status. She then tells me it wasn't about hurting her status, more that she knew she could be happy with Alan, but wasn't ready to settle down. She didn't want to hurt him by being with other people, but she knew she could be happy with him and that they could make a relationship last. This obviously shook me and our relationship. This is when I made a Reddit post asking for advice. Me and Alan decided that it would be best for us to stop any unnecessary contact. Either I would talk to her or me and Alan would. But Alan wasn't to be alone or talk to her alone at all. And before you ask, yes, he wanted it to be this way too. I didn't question his loyalty, but I did question hers. Fast forward about 5 months and me and Alan break up. We both need to work on ourselves individually before we can get married or have a proper life together. But we are both planning to revisit things after some time and hard work on ourselves to see if a life together is still what we want. It's been a little more than 3 weeks ago now since we broke up. I moved out 3 days after breaking it off with him and moved in with a friend. I then called my sister the day after to let her and the rest of my family know. During that phone call, she proceeds to ask if she can contact Alan to check on him since he's her friend also, almost like she was just telling me and not actually asking. I told her I didn't care what she did, still trusting Alan to not play party in her sketchiness. She has now called him several times since. She's Snapchatted him several times over random stuff. She invited him to a party for the 4th and over to dinner a week later, but she has yet to call and check on me once. Never invited me over for dinner or anything else, simply nothing. It's clear she is trying to get Alan back in her life and doesn't care about me. Without saying anything to her, I have blocked her contact, her Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, and muted her Snapchats. And the only reason I haven't blocked her on Snapchat is in case there is something actually important we need to talk about, as I still care deeply for my niece and nephew. She is also unaware of all of this, as I just did this a day or so ago. But was this the right thing to do? My family is also likely to get mad at me for this since she's the favored child. However, I can't seem to shake my anger and sit here knowing she's doing all of this and do nothing. I've already felt bad enough for not telling her husband, but what would I say? She's never tried to kiss Alan or have sex with him. There's no physical proof of most any of this. And she's manipulative. Even if he did believe me, she would probably just gaslight him. And I definitely don't want to ruin a whole marriage over all of these just weird comments. But I'm so angry with her, and though I know nothing I say will actually resonate or get through to her, I still feel like I need to express my feelings. Does anyone have any advice on what to do in this situation? Or how I can express myself and get closure? Should I tell her husband even though I have no hard proof? And is it possible I am making this all bigger than it really is? TLDR, just ended things with my fiance. And now I suspect my married sister is pursuing him. She's made inappropriate comments about him in the past, and now she's trying to reconnect with him while ignoring me. I've blocked her on social media, but feel conflicted about whether to confront her or tell her husband. Any advice on how to handle this delicate situation and find closure? Third stories. I 27F have been with my husband 27M for 4 years and married for a little over 2. And we have a 16-month-old son. 2 years ago, very soon after our honeymoon, we found out 2 things. The first being that I was pregnant, and the second being that my best friend broke up with her fiancé during our honeymoon since he cheated on her. She went spiraling and was convinced that my husband was also cheating on me. I never had any reason to suspect my husband, and I told her that she was projecting her own relationship onto mine and threatened to cut her off if she didn't stop. She never stopped, and being in the initial stage of my first pregnancy, I was having a tough time thinking straight, and I ended up hiring a private investigator to look into my husband for a month, including an out-of-state business trip. I had zero evidence of my husband being unfaithful and assured me of my husband's fidelity. I immediately cut off my best friend, and ever since, I have regretted hiring the pie. I never told my husband since. He literally did nothing wrong and gave me no reason to suspect him, and he doesn't deserve to feel that he did something wrong. I've been the most loving, affectionate, and caring wife I could be, and everything in our relationship has been great. I've fallen even deeper in love with him, seeing him become a father for the first time, and how well he took care of me and showered me with love during and after the pregnancy. My husband and I both got new phones very soon after the PI's investigation, but he kept the old phones. Yesterday, we were talking about some old memories and pictures on our old phones. When he charged up my old phone and went to send the pictures to our current phones, he saw a contact he didn't recognize, and it was the pie. He read the entire conversation and confronted me with it. I admitted and gave him full details of everything. I told him that my ex-best friend was in my ear, and combined with the pregnancy, I couldn't think straight and doubted him and hired a pie to clear my concerns. I profusely apologized to him and promised that he did nothing wrong and it was a result of my own insecurities. He didn't raise his voice or get angry. He just said okay and kissed our son and walked out the door. He came home for hours later, and when I asked where he went, he just said, "Don't worry, I wasn't fucking someone else." I know I hurt him by not talking to him about my insecurities 2 years ago and hiring a pie instead, and then hiding all of this from him. I honestly can't relate to how he feels, but I can understand how terrible it must feel to not feel trusted by the person you go to bed with every night. I tried apologizing to him and talking to him last night and this morning, but he has been ignoring me. He didn't hug or kiss me before we slept last night or before he went to work this morning. What can I do to fix this?